Now on Denver 7 News, dozens of Denver homeowners are dealing with significant damage after a water main breaks in the street.
I fought for my country and now I'm fighting for my house.
We're getting an inside look at the extensive repairs and how the city is working to make things right.
I was basically told, this was a hit and run. We haven't found anything. There's nothing we could do.
Plus, a hit and run caught on camera. Now the victim says she's stuck with thousands in medical bills, why she believes police aren't doing enough.
And a Colorado congressman meets with the president of Ukraine in Ukraine. Why Jason Crow took a surprise trip to Kyiv.
Good evening and welcome to Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Bayan Wang.
And I'm Jacqueline Allen. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been a week since a water main break in Denver's Berkeley neighborhood flooded several streets and about 50 homes. While the water is finally gone, the nightmare for some homeowners is just getting started.
Denver 7's Patrick Perez is live at 45th and Perry Street. Now, Patrick, we know the street is repaired, but it's a completely different story when it comes to the homes in the area.
Yeah, Brian, you wouldn't really know something happened here were it not for all of these cones, but I did have a chance to go inside one of these homes that was flooded, and boy, it was a mess in there. Crews, of course, that were hired by Denver Water are working hard to fix all of this, but it'll be a long time before some of these homeowners can return home.
It's devastating. I mean, it's devastating.
Rose Gonzalez never thought her home of nearly 3 decades could look like this.
They finally drained all the water, which took almost a week. There was so much water down there.
Her home was one of dozens flooded during last Sunday's water main break near 45th and Perry in Denver's Berkeley neighborhood.
Now they have to cut the walls because the water seepage came up through the walls. So they have to mitigate all the walls. They're taking out flooring.
The flooding was so bad, it even separated the foundation. Cracks around the house show sunlight seeping through.
Well, I think the biggest concern is the structure of the home. I mean, we're not going to see it for months, maybe years.
Denver Water hired contractors to fix the home, and while those crews work inside, a pod outside contains some of her belongings. She's still not sure what's salvageable.
I know people say, oh, you could replace this. There's some heirlooms, family heirlooms that can't be replaced.
In addition to the damage to her home, her 2 cars, she says, are totaled. And because of the car market right now, replacing them will be difficult.
We can't buy a 2017 with 80,000 miles for what they're giving us.
Until all the work is complete, it'll be a while before she gets to go back home.
By looking at what they're doing, we're not going to be in here for months.
And while Rose remains confident Denver Water will stand by its word to make things right, only time will tell.
And I fought for my country and now I'm fighting for my house.
So throughout this whole water main break, about 4 million gallons of water were lost because of this. The cause, by the way, is still unknown, but the pipe, one of them was about 100 years old, so that could have been a cause here. But we do know a little bit more information as to what kind of happened here. It was first a 24-inch conduit that broke that then caused the road here at 45th and Perry to collapse, and then an 8-inch water pipe also broke, which is why there was just so much water flowing. We'll keep you updated on how this all goes for the homeowners here. For now, we're live in Denver. I'm Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
Thank you, Patrick. And Denver police is investigating 2 people shot overnight in South Denver. The people were shot near West Evans Avenue and South Paco Street. You can see the video here a few blocks away from Ruby Hill Park around 4 a.m. Now, police say the victims took themselves to the hospital and that they are expected to survive. Investigators are still working to find the shooter.
A Denver woman is now stuck with thousands of dollars in medical bills. She was the victim of a hit and run back in March while riding a scooter in a Capitol Hill neighborhood. Now, even though the collision was all caught on camera, she still questions the police investigation.
I haven't watched the video. I don't think I want to watch the video.
That's understandable, considering Abigail Flynn is the person seen riding a scooter in this home surveillance footage when she was suddenly struck by a car. Watch again. You can see her riding into the frame. You'll see the car approach from behind as she enters a 4-way stop. The car blows through the stop sign and plows into her from behind, throwing her several yards ahead. The car never stopped as she laid there in the street.
I broke my humerus in 2 places. I shattered my elbow on both sides and broke my wrist. I mean, like, I could have died. I lost a lot of blood. My elbow and humerus were exposed.
Bystanders rushed Flynn to the hospital where police would meet her to take a report. Days later, she called them to follow up.
I was basically told, This was a hit and run. We haven't found anything. There is no camera footage of it, no witnesses, so there's nothing we could do.
But according to Flynn, that wasn't the case.
We found a video. My boyfriend and my dad, it took them all 5 minutes to go exactly where I said that it happened and knock on the first door.
It was Margaret Burzin's home.
We've had our fair share of accidents that have happened in front of our house.
Burzin's cameras have captured multiple accidents, and police have responded most of the time. In this case, Denver police say investigators have been out on the scene, but according to Burzin's, officers never came to her home, where multiple cameras are visible from the outside.
Surprised, yeah, that they didn't come by.
For now, Flynn is left with tens of thousands of dollars of medical bills. She works at a restaurant and is uninsured. An online fundraiser was started on her behalf, as her road to recovery is not just physical, but financial. And that is a very long road to recovery. Now, so far, Flynn's GoFundMe has raised over $7,000 in just 2 days. If you'd like to donate, you can find a link on our website, thedenverchannel.com.
That is crazy video. Thank you, Brian. Today, a congressional delegation, including Colorado's Jason Crow, made a surprise visit to Ukraine. You can see here, led by Speaker Nancy Pelosi. They stopped in Kiev, and while there, they met with Ukrainian President Zelensky, and they pledged to provide additional aid. Crow said the purpose of this trip was to deliver a simple message: America will help you win. As that visit was happening, dozens of civilians were evacuated from Mariupol after being trapped inside a damaged steel plant for weeks. This comes as Ukraine faces a major fuel shortage. ABC's Alex Brachet has the latest.
As the fighting continues in Ukraine, newly released satellite images of a steel plant in Mariupol. These photos showing part of the Azovstal steelworks severely damaged. Dozens of residents trapped in the besieged steel plant were able to evacuate during a temporary ceasefire. An international committee of the Red Cross participating in the operation to facilitate the safe passage of civilians toward Zaporizhia. Local officials say residents from other parts of the city were also about to get out. However, those evacuations postponed until Monday due to security reasons, according to the Mariupol City Council. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and a congressional delegation making an unannounced visit to the war-torn country on Saturday. Ukrainian President Zelensky releasing a video with the speaker in Kyiv, who went on to neighboring Poland, where she pledged more U.S. aid is on the way.
Do not be bullied by bullies. If they're making threats, you cannot back down. That's my view of it, that we're there for the fight. And you cannot fold to a bully.
The country facing a fuel shortage, and shortages reported in Kyiv and other cities, with long lines and purchase limits at gas stations. On ABC's This Week, Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S. saying her country is doing everything it can on the battlefield and on the diplomatic front to end this war as soon as possible, but they won't back down.
Ukrainians will not surrender. Ukrainians will not give up. We are tired after this horrible destruction. We are mourning the people we have lost, but we will not stop, and we will defend our country to the victory.
Across Ukraine, people visiting cemeteries to remember the dead. The annual commemoration, which takes place a week after Easter, taking on significance this year. In Irpin, on the outskirts of Kyiv, there are dozens of new graves. This woman saying, "Let God help us to clean our country from the enemy, and let the peace come, and people do not die anymore." Alex Brachet, ABC News, Washington.
Tomorrow, an Oklahoma judge will consider letting a lawsuit move forward brought by 3 Tulsa Massacre survivors against the city. Viola Fletcher is now 107 years old, but says she remembers the 1921 massacre like it was yesterday. She and 2 other survivors are suing the city, its sheriff, and other authorities for damages. In the lawsuit, her attorney argues that the destruction of black homes and public executions of black people were allowed by authorities and that they can now be sued under a state public nuisance law.
That night, when we was aroused by the parents, what was going on, all the shooting and killing and fires and airplanes, people screaming, people lying on the streets bleeding.
Tulsa's mayor wants the judge to dismiss this lawsuit, saying any damages would be paid with tax dollars, and he's against having today's taxpayers pay for yesterday's crimes.
Tomorrow, Aurora will hold a meeting to work on its urban camping ban. The overall ordinance went into effect yesterday, but the policies within the ordinance still need to be finalized before they go into effect. That is expected to happen during the meeting.
Summer watering rules are now in effect across the Denver metro, so that means for people in Denver, Aurora, Lakewood, and parts of Jeffco, you're not allowed to water lawns between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. In Castle Rock, water restrictions are in place from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Now, these restrictions are in effect through September.
If you live in Fort Collins, you might want to think about buying some reusable grocery bags. Up next, why you need these bags and what you need to know about the city's plastic bag ban.
Plus, all good recipes have a secret ingredient, but a new Colorado snack company has one that might make your skin crawl.
I'm meteorologist Stacey Donaldson. It's been a beautiful day here across the Front Range. We still have high fire danger down through southern Colorado and some strong thunderstorms for the southeastern part of the state with a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 10 o'clock. I'll let you know what big changes we'll see here in Denver over the next 24 hours coming up.